diamondclub.tv and the chat room will be on there, or you can go to irc.dtns.tv and in your favorite IRC client. And you join the pound chat room.
Alrighty.
Okay. We ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a word of warning for the audience and for you, Peter. I've been troubleshooting a thing where my camera just turns itself off during the show. So if my video goes black, my audio will still going. Just pick it up and keep talking while I get up and go turn it back on.
No worries.
All right.
That's what happened yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it's happened the past couple of days, and I thought it was a battery, but it wasn't. So now I'm trying something else. We'll see what happens. Here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show includes news, reviews, and spoilers. So if you haven't heard what we're talking about, you might want to... No, wait, that's the other podcast that I listen to. The Daily Tech News Show is sponsored by you and me and, well, everybody. Everybody. Just go to patreon.com/acedetect or go to dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Hey, Tom, drop that funky beat.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, August 21st for me, or Friday, August 22nd if you're Peter Wells, who's joining us today in lovely... You're in Melbourne? Is that right?
No, in glorious Sydney.
Oh, you're in Sydney. Okay, why do I always get that wrong? I always get it wrong, and now I'm in that part where I think it's Sydney, but I always get it wrong. So
I lived in Melbourne for about 8 years, so yeah, they're both
That's
fine.
just stuck in my head. Okay, yeah. That's why. Peter Wells, editor of Reckoner Australia, and good to have you up. It's always early in the morning for him when he joins us, so we're extra happy to have you along. We got some good stuff to talk about. SoundCloud charging people, selling ads, doing all kinds of crazy copyright stuff.
Yeah, it's a good little lineup here. Let's get right into it.
Let's start the headlines. The Verge has been chatting with sources familiar with Microsoft's plans, who say September 30th is tentatively the date when a press announcement for the next version of Windows is scheduled. The operating system, which is codenamed Threshold, is expected to come out as a technical preview sometime September or October. So if September 30th, that would be right at the end of September. What is guessed by many to end up being called Windows 9 will have a new mini start menu, get rid of the Charms bar, and have a few other UI tweaks. We might even get a version of the Cortana virtual assistant. It's possible we'll also get details in this announcement of the unification of Windows RT and Windows Phone. Would that be why they're codenaming it Threshold? Like they're on the threshold of a unified Windows?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can see that. Although maybe, they gave away the name Metro, so who knows. I think this is really good news anyway, just because, I do work in enterprise in my 9-to-5 job, and we were never going to touch Windows 8. And, they need to get away from that number. 8.1 was not good enough. They need to kind of get past and get to Windows 9, just because, I think it's also kind of common knowledge now that every second Windows is a stinker. And so they need to have that Windows 7 was your last great one, here's +2.
Yeah. Although XP was good. A lot of people didn't think so right at the beginning, but it is now fondly remembered. So they could come up with some weird new, name, but I would rather they didn't. I like this 7, 8, 9. I'm glad they got back to that.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Yeah, me too. Reuters, citing subscription tech news site The Information, reports that eBay told potential candidates for the job of PayPal CEO about a possible spin-off of PayPal. I could see that conversation like, look, if we do hire you as CEO, you might not work for us anymore, just so you know. Whether that would mean part or all of PayPal would be spun off, we don't know, but eBay recently resisted demands by activist shareholder Carl Icahn to separate PayPal from its parent company. So I'm unsure why they would be throwing that around unless they were just trying to cover their rears here. And The Information has had some sources lead them astray recently. So
yeah. It seems like something really odd to just kind of drop in an interview, though. I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, unless it was just sort of like, look, Icon's been pressuring us, so there's always an off chance that PayPal ends up getting split off. We don't think it's very likely. It could be something like that. Where
yeah, that makes sense.
That's kind of my best guess. Engadget reports Comcast will officially launch its TV service over the internet Don't get too excited, though. You're going to have to go back to college if you want it. The several college campuses that will implement it include Bridgewater College, Drexel, Emerson, Veronica Belmont, an alumnus of Emerson, LaSalle College, and the University of Delaware. Service comes included with room and board, so you have to live in a dorm as well, and can only be used on campus, although among the 80 channels are ESPN and HBO, and you can watch ESPN and HBO Go apps off campus. Comcast hopes to add other universities soon. A company called Philo provides a similar service already to Harvard, Stanford, and Yale.
It's so cute, Tom, that obviously I've never had to deal with Comcast in my life, and yet still the name just kind of creeps me out a bit. Like the general hatred of Comcast has managed
It's just
to cross
seeped over there. That's funny.
Yeah. But it's kind of, if you look at the some of the limitations of this, there's no Chromecast support, there's no AirPlay support. There's basically no way of watching this on a television. You need to be watching it on a device or a laptop. But I guess these are those kind of baby steps that you expect when something like this rolls out. Like companies like Comcast are a little bit too freaked out to give you exactly what you want right up. They're just going to have to baby step you into this.
Yeah, and when you think about it, a lot of college dorm residents don't put televisions in their dorm anymore because they have a laptop and they want that or they have a desktop and they want that monitor to take up the space. So it kind of makes more sense in that situation. Plus, Comcast came right out and said, we want to get people hooked while they're young to our service, so then when they do move into their own apartment down the road, they'll want to continue to subscribe to Comcast.
And isn't this what Netflix did so successfully years ago? I mean, that idea that you could share your Netflix subscription with a kid at college and get them hooked that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was one of those things that they've always said that help them with their numbers.
Yeah. GigaOM reports the class action lawsuit put forth by Max Schrems' organization Europe v. Facebook is going forward in Austria. The Vienna Regional Court gave Facebook Ireland 4 weeks to respond to claimants' accusations of widespread breaches of data protection law. They can ask for a 4-week extension, so essentially they've got up to 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, poor old Facebook. I kind of want this to go ahead just so I can see the court case. I think it'll make for many interesting episodes of Daily Tech News Show.
just so we have something to slot into the headlines, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Europe, especially Germany and Austria, have been sort of the watchdogs of Facebook privacy violations, and a lot of people think it's going too far. But who watches the watchers, right? Facebook's watching us. I think it's fair to at least examine what's going on there. According to CNET, Google Chrome is now available for Cubans to download at google.co.cu. That's the Cuban domain name extension. Google executives reportedly visited Cuba in June to push for greater internet access there. U.S. sanctions make it difficult for U.S. businesses to do pretty much anything in Cuba, and Google hinted as much in their G+ post about the launch, but they did say they hope to figure out how to make more tools available in sanctioned countries. They've also launched Chrome in Iran and Syria, so they're figuring out ways to do this properly. This will surely be highly anticipated by the 5% of Cubans that U.S. NGO Freedom House estimates have regular access to the internet in Cuba. The New York Times reports SoundCloud will begin to incorporate advertising in its audio streaming service, starting with Red Bull, Jaguar, and Comedy Central. The revenue will mostly go to artists and labels. A new program called On SoundCloud Premiere, that'll go along with their partner and pro levels that they already have, will let select organizations and indie artists join a revenue sharing plan. Big publishers like BMG, all the way down to indies like rapper Goldlink, are part of the first group that will take part in the Premiere program. SoundCloud said they also plan to provide a subscription service for listeners to let you make the ads go away sometime in the future. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that in a minute. The Next Web reports iBeacon-based company Estimote is promoting something they call nearables as opposed to wearables. Estimote stickers have integrated accelerometer and temperature sensors, and they can work with more than just iBeacon. They have a backwards compatibility to the Estimote SDK, and they can work with anything that can send in packets, basically. A developer kit is being unveiled today with 10 Estimote stickers for $99. Now, you say stickers. They're not terribly thin. They're thinner than the Estimote tags, but they're not super flat.
Yeah. I'd encourage everyone to click through and watch the video. I mean, once you get past that kind of smug tech video glaze where everyone's 20 and they live in Brooklyn, it does look like a fascinating little thing, like sticking the stickers onto your bike and watching your route and all of that kind of stuff. It seems like a good idea, but like you said, yeah, they're not exactly tiny stickers. You will recognize them. You will see them on your laptop.
Yeah, they're more than a few millimeters thick, but they can do some cool stuff. I mean, you're right. That video was kind of annoying at the beginning, like trying to make you feel sorry for your phone because it's in your pocket not doing anything when it could be doing so much more. I'm like, I don't really feel sorry for my phone. I want to keep its battery life. But the idea that, you know, you could put this on a purse, for instance, and it would let you know if you let the purse behind. That was a good example of this. Or on a bicycle, so that you know where your bicycle is, where you parked it, or if it's being moved without your knowledge, stuff like that. I guess one example I read about was having it on something that you're cooking, so that you would know when it reached a certain temperature, and then you'd be able to go back and say, oh yeah, it's you know, the pork is done because the sensor says so. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and if you watch the video as well, it's kind of about the first 40 seconds is dedicated to consumers using it for those kind of tasks, and then the next minute 20 seconds is all about shops putting it in their areas and watching, you know, the places that people congregate at the most. So, you know, I think they'd be quite happy for people to buy a couple of these stickers, but I think, yeah, the main push will be for shops and retail environments, yeah.
You know, and it wasn't even that creepy. Like having a sticker on a shoe in a sporting goods store so they can know which shoes were picked up the most times, it's perfectly legitimate. You know, that's not a privacy violation, and it lets them know like what stuff people are more interested in.
Yeah, and you know, I've seen some really great kind of feedback with say the way that people design train stations in this country has changed based on watching how people actually navigate through the gates and things like that. So yeah, like, it's not all creepy when you turn around and kind of monitor how people use the space.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we always jump to the creepy, but sometimes it's not.
Right. Time for some news from you. These are things that folks submit on our subreddit. Get in there and join them. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. It's a lot of fun to see what people are posting. And even if you just want to play judge, you can like put on a robe and a wig and pick up a gavel and then just vote things up or down in the subreddit. That alone is fun. Of course, we love the people that submit stories as well. Like TM204 submitted the MIT News post about a paper describing how to take discarded car batteries and recycle materials from them into longer-lasting solar panels. The panels they're making use a compound called perovskite, and I may be pronouncing that wrong, which requires lead. This has been controversial because lead production is fraught with problems. However, rather than produce the lead from raw ore, the researchers are taking the lead from car batteries. One car battery has enough lead to make enough solar panels to power 30 households. And then that's a car battery that didn't have its lead thrown in a landfill somewhere. The paper will appear in Energy and Environmental Science by Professors Angela M. Belcher and Paula T. Hammond, graduate student Po-Yen Chen, and 3 other authors as well. And yes, I know the batteries aren't supposed to end up in the landfill, so don't write me the proper recycling of battery emails. That was just saying.
That's fantastic.
They're not wasting the battery. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got one of those 3D printers at work that can actually use old PET bottles and melt them down and turn them into 3D products again. So yeah, I love this. Yeah, it's very cool. I work at a university, by the way, if you're wondering how I get to play with these toys. But yeah, it's always fun to see you know, this kind of do-it-yourself recycling. This is awesome.
Yeah. BM Buffalo posted the Imager gallery showing how a fully functional 1 kilobyte hard drive was made by a user called Smelly String in Minecraft. And you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Well, there's another one too. A second larger unit created by Theo or 0JJ can store 4 kilobytes of data. The devices use redstone to power pistons that represent binary values by pushing solid or clear blocks in front of the redstone signal. Solid blocks are used as 1s and clear blocks are used as 0s. And then the CNET article I was reading said that some guy had made a computer that could play a 2D version of Minecraft. So, you know, Inception is not far off here.
Everything about Minecraft just does my head in, and yeah, I can't even wrap my head around this one.
Funk Around sent along a Wired.com article with the depressing news that Apple's iMessage is being taken over by spammers, specifically those hawking fake luxury goods, at least in large part. Those are the ones I got, too, by the way. According to one security analyst, iMessage is a spammer's dream because you can spam the entire Apple ecosystem with some Apple scripts that just churn the messages out like crazy. People can report spam to Apple, but it's not easy. It's a tedious process involving taking screenshots. We'll provide the link in the show notes if you want to do it, though. Just turn off iMessage is another option that you have, at least until Apple gets the hint.
I've not seen this yet. So you were saying before the show that you've hit the spamming already, or
I've had
not you personally.
two propositions to buy some lovely Louis Vuitton bags come in my iMessage, and they use a lot of emojis.
Yeah, I mean, I get spam all the time via Skype. I guess that's the last one that I still kind of have to wade through some of the spam every time I launch the app. But yeah, I haven't seen it in iMessages yet, but it does make a lot of sense that this is where the spam will be coming from, just because it's a free thing to do. And yeah, like they say, you can easily Apple script it on any kind of laptop.
Yeah, and I think, spam technology is now more than a decade old, and all that does is create fake email addresses at known domain names. Well, if you know the domain name is going to be iCloud.com or Mac.com, you can just have that script churn out every possible email address you can come up with, and you're going to get spam at some point if you have it connected to an Apple-based email address. And, of course, they can do the same thing with Gmail, Yahoo, etc. So it's not real surprising. Same thing that causes these kinds of spam things to come through Gtalk and Skype, like you're saying. It's not surprising to me. But Apple's the only one who could stop it, and they haven't done anything about it yet. Give me a button. Give me a report spam button, please.
Yeah.
Techie Noob pointed out the Android Central article that T-Mobile is heating up the U.S. mobile wars, offering a free year of unlimited LTE service if a customer can get someone to switch from Sprint, Verizon, or AT&T to T-Mobile. That means the referrer and the new customer both get the free year. Sprint, for its part, has offered an unlimited talk, text, and data plan for $60 a month. But that is only available to folks who are off contract. If you're on contract, you can't switch to that plan right now. My wife's on T-Mobile. Maybe I should do this, Peter.
I think you should. I mean, the last time I was in the States, T-Mobile had its issues in some of the larger cities. Has it improved since then?
In places where they've rolled out T-Mobile LTE, it has improved quite a bit, but I suspect that's because not many people are using T-Mobile LTE, and if we get a lot of people moving over to T-Mobile, they're going to have problems with capacity, just like any other carrier does. But Verizon, which is great in San Francisco, isn't that great in certain parts of LA. And so I've started to think the whole reason I got Verizon is so I'd always have a signal, and it worked until I moved.
Yeah, see, the one thing I think is holding back American mobile competition, really good competition, is the fact that you guys don't have that one single GSM network where you can just pop in a SIM and pop one out again. I've changed networks, I think, 3 times this calendar year, and I've changed networks, 20 times in the last couple of years. I have no loyalty to any of my cell phone providers. I know I can switch and my number will be ported within about 3 hours and I'm good to go. So I think that's really helped our industry be far more competitive than anything I've ever seen when I've been in the States.
Tell you what, the FCC wants to solve this net neutrality problem on the wireless side. Just take away everybody's spectrum, because the FCC owns it, and make everybody use the same spectrum for their service. Boom. Competition.
Absolutely.
There are problems with doing that, I realize, but I'm just kind of throwing that out. All right, folks, if you like tech history, I've teamed up with Scott Johnson to put out monthly looks at what happened in tech history each month. For 99 cents, you get what happened on each day of the month, 3 or 4 items in most cases, things that helped make the tech we use today, plus you get illustrations from Scott Johnson and the latest book covering things that launched in September. A lot of launches happened in September, even before Apple started doing their launches. Just hit the Amazon store today, so check it out for 99 cents each at TomMerrittBooks.com, or just search Tech History September on Amazon. And we only have 1 more month left before I've done all 12.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'll definitely buy this one because obviously I launched in September, so I want to make sure that I'm in there.
I'll be putting out a revised edition shortly. If you buy it, if you bought it already, we'll obviously see all the best things launch in September, Peter. All right, let's talk about this SoundCloud thing. So they're going to incorporate advertising, as I mentioned. Artists and labels can collect the royalties. You have to be an approved partner. SoundCloud says eventually they're going to make this available for almost anybody to do, but they're just starting slowly. They've got Sony, ATV, and BMG as publishers. They've got distributors Ingrooves and Seed. Funny or Die is on board. A number of independent artists. So they're trying to show that this isn't just for the big guys. However, they don't have any of the major labels on board yet. Because the major labels, from all reports, want a better deal and more copyright restrictions than already happen. And I think that's where I want to go with this is SoundCloud becoming too much like YouTube, right? We had that issue with DJ Cascade back in June where he had tracks that he no longer owned anymore, but they were his tracks being blocked on SoundCloud by his own label. And the label apologized and tried to help him out and everything. But copyright violation notices have increased on SoundCloud just as they have caused problems on YouTube.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can't see. I rarely end up at SoundCloud. I'll say that because I'm an old man. So I generally only end up on SoundCloud when my wife tells me to go listen to something that the young people are listening to, and I'll search it out there on SoundCloud first. But yeah, I do end up there quite a bit for mixtapes and DJ sets and things like that. And to be honest, most of the ones I checked before we started recording, and most of the ones that I've loved to death over the last year are still there. So I don't see this as too big a threat. I totally understand where you're coming from. Like if the artists themselves are seeing an increase, then yeah, that in takedown notices, that is definitely worrying. But at least as a SoundCloud, very rare SoundCloud user, I haven't seen it so far. Most of my favorite mixtapes are still up there, and maybe that is just the fact that a mixtape tends to be 40 minutes, 50 minutes long, so it might not trigger some of those same warnings that a smaller piece might.
Although a couple of things that I read said that the mixtapes are actually the issue for the labels getting on board with this, is trying to figure out, like, if you do have 2 seconds of a Britney Spears song, how do you monetize that? How do you charge for that? And the labels want equity in SoundCloud in exchange for not suing them for the things that have existed on SoundCloud, which I think is a heavy stick. My issue with SoundCloud, we use it as the host for the Sword and Laser podcast when we joined the Boing Boing Network, and there is not an easy way to link directly to the file on SoundCloud. Yeah, it's beautiful. They've got this Flash embed player that is lovely, and you can comment on it, and the comments are always so much more robust and helpful on SoundCloud than they are on YouTube. I'll give them that. They've definitely managed the community in a better way somehow. But it is sort of like saying, hey, we're going to lock your things in SoundCloud. And it's not, to me, it's not a sustainable situation, right? I don't want to put all my eggs in the SoundCloud basket. Now, I know there's things like Mixcloud that are actually better for podcasters, and people have pointed that out, but I just worry that what SoundCloud's doing, and I know that Young and Wallforce are both like really wanting to just do things that help music. I totally believe that. I've talked to Lung before on Triangulation back on Twit. And I get that. But it doesn't matter what they want. The business is always going to push these things toward locking down and giving the keys to the big organizations. That's what the big organizations want.
Yeah, God, there's so much to get through in just that little bit of talking you did there, Tom. I mean, I guess, first of all, if your comment system is better than YouTube, well, I would hope so.
It's not a high bar, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah. I mean, I've had a look at them for podcasts as well, podcast hosting, because you're right. The interface is beautiful. The way that they've been very good at moving to mobile very quickly, and there are so many things to love about SoundCloud. But right now, they've just replaced their free, their pro, and their pro unlimited with, as you said, partnered Pro and Premiere. And so if you were signing up today to host a podcast, there's actually nothing you can do there because the Premiere is invite only at this stage, and that's the only one that has unlimited time that you can upload. And you'll definitely, if you're doing 40-minute shows, you'll definitely hit that the 3 hours and 6 hours that you'll get on Partner or Pro at the moment. But yeah, I do know that we were approached by a podcast advertising agency a little while ago, and they demand that you host on SoundCloud just because the analytics are fantastic, and they want they don't want to trust your analytics that you give them. They want a third party to give analytics between the both of you so that they can trust your numbers. So yeah, we've looked at SoundCloud a couple of times, but like you said, there's always just been enough for us to kind of go, well, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be worth uploading our stuff there. And I've been burnt before uploading things. Like I moved one of my old blogs from a self-hosted WordPress to a what was the one that Twitter shut down? It was kind of like Tumblr, but they Posterous. I moved my blog to Posterous and then had the whole thing nuked, and I've been a little bit scared ever since. So yeah, I don't know. I like what they're doing. I think they're incredibly smart guys, and everything looks beautiful in their interface. I am a little bit worried. I mean, I don't know. I think they're doing everything right here as well with this move. They're not forcing ads on anyone. They're taking it as slowly as they possibly can. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, and to be fair, SoundCloud isn't trying to be a podcast medium, so it's not fair to judge them solely on that. What they're trying to be is a music medium. And with music, where your file is hosted is less important. You can have your file hosted in loads of different places, and SoundCloud realizes that. They're like, yeah, of course you're gonna have a video on YouTube, and you're gonna have a file on Spotify, and you're gonna have a file in the iTunes store, and that's fine. SoundCloud's okay with that. They're saying we're gonna have a better experience for a lot of people who want to listen, and we're gonna try to sell some advertising. But with that, when you try to strike a deal to share revenue, when money gets involved, because remember, up till now, SoundCloud has existed only by charging people who wanted to have more capacity. They haven't ever charged the listener. And essentially, advertising is charging the listener, saying you listen to an ad or you pay for a subscription, which they say they'll do eventually to get rid of the ad. So this is a way for SoundCloud, first of all, to make some money, which they've had shortfalls up until now. But it's also going to put a lot more restrictions on what people can do. And I guess that's the real thing. Forget the podcasting example. It's more about that remix culture that has grown up on SoundCloud, starting to run into some cold realities of how intellectual property actually works in the real world.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, back to your point of like the record industries want to work out how to get that cash for the 2 seconds of Britney. Just, God, let it go. Like, I don't know, if you listen to a 40-minute Avalanche's DJ set that uses 700 different samples by the time that mix is finished, I mean, that is such a creative work. That is something that they've assembled music. Of course, they've used samples to do it, but they've created their own unique piece of work. It's please let it go, record industries. I know you're not going to, but please, I mean, come on.
All right, let's take a quick look at the calendar. One thing on there tomorrow, August 22nd, BoJack Horseman, the cartoon featuring Will Arnett, premieres on Netflix, at least here in the U.S. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the Netflix worldwide, but I assume it's going to be, so check that out. Our pick of the day comes from Mike Reed. This is interesting. This is a pick that when I did a quick look, is incredibly popular among users, but has gotten less good ratings from reviewers. It's one of those, like, the critics don't like it as much as the users do. And Mike likes it. It's called You Need a Budget. A great piece of software, he says, and a set of basic rules to assist you in managing your finances. Their software is not cheap. It's $60, but it is very much worth it. There's Windows and Mac version for the desktop and iOS, Android and Kindle Fire for mobile. The killer feature is Dropbox synchronization. I can be at the grocery store, make my purchase, and as I walk out of the store, input the transaction into my mobile device. It immediately updates through Dropbox to any other client and shows me what the budget for that category was and what it is now. The company is extremely supportive, with numerous live classes to learn the process and software, and a great and helpful online community. I recommend this software to people who need help and people who don't. It's a great way to stay on top of your finances and set great goals for the future. And the technical reviews I read compare it to things like Mint and say, yeah, but You Need a Budget doesn't sync to your financial institution. It syncs across the platforms with itself. And You Need a Budget, I looked at their fact, they're like, yeah, but that helps you keep aware of what you're actually spending, because you have to put it in there. And they think that's a benefit. So check it out, youneedabudget.com. Thank you, Mike Reed, for the suggestion.
Yeah, I've got one friend who has been trying to get me onto this for the last 2 years.
Has it been evangelizing you?
Yeah, they definitely create these really passionate users.
Yeah, it seems like it because just looking around, like the user reviews for this are 4.5, 5 stars with thousands and thousands of reviews. Send your picks to feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Please send your picks, and you can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Now, yesterday, Jeff Kanata and I talked about Twitter and their struggle with when to remove objectionable material. We got a couple of good responses to that. First one comes from Brendan, who sent us an audio response.
Hello, Tom, Jenny, and guest. Quick comment about the Twitter free speech beheading video thing from yesterday's show. I don't understand how, I can't remember who said that they felt like it was against their free speech for this third-party company to take down something that they put up. But I don't understand it because it's their service. It's not a public service; it's a third party. And like, if they had put I hear the analogy to a bulletin board all the time. Like a bulletin board, some of them are just for job listings. So you put something else up there, you have to take that down. They'll take it down for you. YouTube is able to take things down. Apple has restrictions on what goes in the App Store. It's their service. It's not a public utility or forum. And if you wanted to put something up without somebody taking it down, that's what websites and emails and all those things are for. Just my 2 cents. Thanks for the show. I really enjoy it.
Oh, thanks, Brendan. Appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback. LWatt CDR has a similar point to Brendan. He says, I really do not have an issue with Twitter restricting the types of pictures and images allowed on the news feed for these reasons. You can still put a link to your own site that has the picture or video. Actually, I would correct that, and I emailed him about this already. You can't link some of the takedowns that they've done are linking to the picture elsewhere. He says, you're not limited in your comments on said events. And Twitter is not the only site on the internet, just a very popular one. And I think that's the key point here. He says, I feel that there is a difference between censorship and editorial control. A government saying you will go to jail or be punished in some way for saying X is censorship. A platform like a newspaper, podcast, or website saying we do not want to carry this kind of story or this kind of image is editorial control. I think that's very elegantly put. What Twitter is doing is exercising editorial control. And my question then becomes, is that what we wanted from Twitter? We were thinking, I think all of us, of Twitter as a messaging platform, kind of a neutral thing. Like you just, like SMS, you can say whatever you want. And now Twitter is saying, well, we have to exercise a certain amount of editorial control here. Is that change how we use Twitter and why we use Twitter?
Well, I guess they've always had some kind of editorial control anyway. Once they became so big that they had to kind of limit what you saw in your timeline. You don't necessarily always see every post of every person you follow when you look at your Twitter timeline. There are certain algorithms to just kind of push some of the more popular posts to the front. But yeah, I see. It was an incredible listen yesterday, the show that you did, Tom. The thing that I kind of actually was more concerned about over the last week was actually the reporting on the passing of Robin Williams, just because there's, you would know from journalism school, there's a lot of rules about about how you're supposed to talk about suicide in the press, and I feel that some of the bigger Twitter accounts out there kind of got it wrong in the way that they approached the suicide. They went into graphic detail, and in some ways the famous one was the Academy tweet where there was a picture of the genie from Aladdin, and the tagline was, it's time to go, or you're free now, genie, which is almost promoting suicide in a way. So that's the bit that actually really had me troubled over the last week, and I just think that, like, we need to have these discussions because Twitter is this big now. It really is, as you guys said yesterday. It is the first source of news that I go to most days on most events. So, like it or not, it is almost as important as a New York Times or a BBC. That's where I get my information from. So, I think I don't have an answer at all. I just think that it's worthwhile having these discussions.
Yeah, and LWatt CDR and Brendan are both right. You don't have to use it. You can go somewhere else. It's not the only website out there. But we have we have seen it act in a different way, or at least we haven't experienced it a need personally. I haven't to worry about Twitter getting rid of posts up until now. Finally, Justin Robert Young sent us an email yesterday. We didn't have time to get to it, so I want to get to it real quick today. He said Uber's Corner Store, the one where they're delivering convenience store goods to you, is a play for drivers. They want Uber drivers to have more capacity to make money. In their perfect world, their drivers are as busy as they want to be, and this gives them another thing to do. This differentiates them from Lyft and others for now, in that people who pledge fealty to the Uber, can make more, theoretically boosting their available roster of drivers, can make more money, therefore theoretically boosting their available roster of drivers. This benefits them in capacity, which is the source of all current non-city regulation issues. Cough, surge pricing, cough, says Justin. So yeah, I'm, figuring out more ways for the drivers to stay occupied and make money brings more drivers to your platform, which gives you more capacity, which means you don't have to worry about surge pricing controversies as often because you've got plenty of drivers out there. Good point.
Makes sense to me. Yep.
Thank you, Justin Robert Young. We'll see you on the show soon. And thank you, Peter Wells. We saw you on the show today, right now. Appreciate it.
No worries at all, sir. Always a pleasure.
What's going on at Reckoner these days? Anything to let folks know about in particular?
Yeah. Look, we've been kind of obsessed, as we always are in Australia, with the time it takes for movies and TV shows to arrive here, and what that means for piracy. So this time we've been, over the last week, we've been focusing on the delay in movies actually coming to Australia, which for the most part cinemas have worked it out. We get day-and-day release with Hollywood in most of the kind of big dumb Hollywood movies that, it makes sense for them that they want you to see a movie before you realize how terrible it is, how bad the word of mouth of Transformers might be before it gets out there. But so they've crossed that bridge, but they haven't gotten as far as, say, our digital copies tend to still be about 60 days behind the US, even though we get the same release date for cinemas. So that's really interesting, and we've been trying to pick that apart and work out why that's happening.
Check it out. It's reckoner.co.au, right?
No, .com.
.com. See, I see. Why doesn't the UK just do .com, .uk like everybody else? Then I wouldn't get confused anymore. Reckoner.com.au. Sorry about that. And of course, you can find Peter Wells showing up here every once in a while as well. And Full-Time Casual on Twitter, right?
Actually, Peter Wells. Yeah.
Oh, it's Peter Wells now?
On Twitter. Yeah. Sorry, right. Jenny, that's my fault. I really need to update my my information on the internet.
No worries. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it, as always, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks to our patrons, 4,227 people finding some value in the show and giving some value back. We seriously appreciate your willingness to part with some of your hard-earned cash. All we ask for is 5 cents a show, $1 a month. If you give more, that is deeply appreciated. Patreon.com/AceDetect. And there's lots of people who've just been giving us one-time donations because they can, and we super appreciate those as well. DailyTechNewsShow.com/donate if you want to support the show in any other kind of way. Don't forget, you can have a voice in what stories we cover at our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Email us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Our phone number is 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. And you can listen to the show live at mobile.alphageekradio.com. Visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll be back tomorrow with Darren Kitchen because it's Friday, and Len Peralta will be illustrating the show. We'll see you then.
Visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Done.
Yay.
Brilliant, as always.
Oh. Sorry, Jenny, if I still have full-time casual.
Yeah, I'm dumb. Everything I wrote about you was wrong.
No, not at all. It doesn't really matter.
Lies!
Are you, Peter Wells? Are you or are you not the editor of Reckoner Australia?
That is true, I promise.
I got that right.
Yeah.
And I just didn't put anything at all, which is why Tom resorted. All right, this is all my fault.
To his graying memory. Well, I should know these things. Yeah.
You do have a producer.
No, it's all good.
Just have a tired one.
So did you switch from full-time casual to Peter Wells?
Yeah,
You're
about
just-
6 months ago.
So I'm the last of the non-grown-ups who's still using a goofy Twitter name.
But yeah, no, you gave me a good reason last time because the last time I was on the show, I asked you about that.
Do we see? I'm getting senile. We even talked about this. Already.
No, that's fair. I like the idea that you're weeding out potential people who might just, I don't know, read about you one day. That's not good enough. You have to be a fan.
Yeah, you have to work. You got to work at it. Cloudy with
Anyway,
a chance of ads. Nice.
Speaking of work, I probably should get ready
Yes.
for work. So
Go ahead. Thank you, man. Good to see you.
no worries. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
PayPal to eBay Electric Boogaloo, though. It doesn't even make any sense, but I love it.
All right, let's see what we got in the queue here.
I can't shut up.
Cloudy
Smelly
with
string theory.
eBay Electric.
You guys are amazing today.
But I feel like there's like a not everybody's voting like once for one thing. Let's see, what do we got? Mindception. I like that.
I like Cloudy with
Oh.
a chance of ads, though.
Can you
It's-
do $ SoundCloud?
I could, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm reading. Oh, I should read out loud, huh?
You could, yeah. I mean,
I'm just like, these are interesting.
it's more entertaining that way for the rest of us.
Okay, 10 votes, Cloudy with a chance of ads. 3 votes, PayPal. 2, eBay Electric Boogaloo.
I love that one.
That's pretty great. And then also from BioCow, we have $ SoundCloud, with the S being replaced by the $ for all of you who don't see it. Whoa, BioCow's like got a triple axle going on. He's also got Mindception,
Triple sow cow.
triple SoundCloud, and then Smelly String Theory from TVZ Gun. Beatmaster, these are the ads you're looking for along with I Can't Shut Up, as in Carl Icahn. CS803. SoundCloud is so totally YouTubular. And then after that, we keep going down. Locked in the SoundCloud. I like that. That's Big Jim. That's what we
Big
got.
Jim.
Big
Big Jim was our pre-show announcement today.
Oh, cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I switched. I lied to the Alpha Geek Radio people yesterday, and I played them a different one from Big Jim, and then I hadn't got to that one yet at the time, so then I played that one. Steven Schleicher of Major Spoilers is on our list of people to book for the show. Jim was asking about that, so hopefully we'll have him on someday soon.
Where is that list? You mean our guest list?
Yeah. He's
Oh,
in that.
okay.
He's in that spreadsheet.
I'm gonna write his name down.
I was
Sometimes
like, you use that list every day? Yeah, he's probably. It's been a while since he was
all right,
on.
I'll go. I sometimes need a separate list of like, go find this person.
Yeah, right. You could put him on that list if you made that list.
If I made that list, if I did that. Okay.
All right, so Cloudy with a chance of ads.
I think so.
Too many windows. Cloudy.
That's what Apple said.
with a
That
chance
joke is
of
like
ads.
10 years old. Okay, wait. So I have
Wait,
to
wait,
go
wait,
through
wait. What are we waiting on?
all right. So I now have a Google Talk plugin recording. I'm going to open Levelator. I'm doing what
Okay.
you're doing. Only much.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and you've got it set for wave.
Wave.
Got
right?
it.
Should
Yep.
be wave. Wait, where's Levelator? Hello? Hello?
Hey, how about that? The camera didn't turn off today.
That's good.
I'm not quite ready to say it's fixed because it might still turn off, but
Is it weird that Levelator went away? I still have the. I'm gonna just do this.
you have the app, right?
It's
When you
just
say it went
weird
away.
that it. All right, I'm redoing the install.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the guy who Conversations Network doesn't make it anymore, but it still works.
Yeah.
We're all fearing the OS 10 update that kills it.
Uh-huh.
We live in fear. And then there are other level apps out there, but none of them are as good or work as easily as Levelator, which is why we're all still clinging to it.
Cling.
So the metal freaks of the world, the
Yeah.
open source advocates of the world, if you could all get together and do an open source Levelator, that'd be great. Thanks.
Oh, for some reason, it processes as an MP3. I wonder why.
What does?
Audio hijack. I thought.
Oh, maybe you
I
didn't
recorded
save
it wrong.
your settings. That's okay. Just
Recording?
pull it into Audacity and then
Yeah.
export as a wave. It's an extra step, but
No. Right.
it'll still work fine.
Well, actually, you know what I'm more interested in than that
Mhm.
is figuring out why it didn't record. Hold on. Quick
Yeah.
record. Right?
Under format, you should have custom.
Custom wave 16. Oh, because I didn't select a source to go in with that, right? Is that why?
I don't know. I can't see your screen, so I don't know
Mm.
what. When you say you didn't select a source, that doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense because it recorded. So you would
Well,
have you would
No,
have
I know,
selected a
but
source.
I'm saying in quick record, there's
Uh-huh.
the input field
Yes.
and the recording field. So
Right.
the recording field is correct. The input
Yeah.
field says application blank select a source.
Well, then that's not what you recorded,
Right.
or it couldn't have.
All right, hold on. Let me go to Google Talk plugin. Recording. Okay, this is where I'm getting confused. Oh, now I have to go through this again. Select application, but now I know where this is. This is in the library.
Well, yeah, those are two different things. Quick record can be set to do anything.
Yeah.
So that you can just go to quick record every time.
Mhm.
Or you can go down there into one of those others. But when you set one of them, it doesn't set the other. They're separate things.
Okay, so I see. Wait, custom. I see. It's within the Google Talk plugin.
So yeah, you set it in quick record, but if you would have set the application in quick record to be Google Talk plugin, then that would have worked.
All right.
You just set one in one place and one in the other, not both in the same
Alright.
place.
So now
That's
I
what
have
it sounds
Google
like
Talk
anyway.
plugin, custom wave 16-bit mono, save to Dropbox, blah diddy blah diddy blah. Okay. Silence monitor off. Okay, got that. So now that I have that fixed, we'll try on tomorrow's show.
That's why we do it. That's
I
you know,
know.
it's good. It's tempting to feel like I screwed it up, but you
No,
want to
it's
screw it
better
up
to screw it up
because you want
now.
to screw it up now. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now I will go to Audacity and import the file. Switch it and levelate it. Levelate.
Bioc, I just saw that. Biocal said, "Great show, Ace Detects camera.
Good job.
Good job not turning off, lazy piece of."
Mm-mm-mm.
Because I'm not looking forward to buying a new camera if that were the problem.
Yeah, that does. Importing. Guys, this whole post show is going to get a lot less interesting once two people are doing things. The premise only worked when Tom was doing things and Jenny could just yam, 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 and he could kind of pay attention. But if we're both doing things, it's just going to be a lot of silence.
That's what you signed up for, okay? We're just
So
saying.
you know. All right. So now in Audacity, export, and then I export as a something, as a wave.
Export is a wave, yeah.
There's only one wave, Microsoft signed 16-bit PCM. Okay.
There's only one wave to rock.
rock and roll.
There's only one wave. How'd it go in Tin and Vec? Or Tin Vec?
Was Tinvec on?
He was
another
on
show?
The Big Show.
Please tell me we launched Tinvec. I'll feel so happy.
That would be awesome.
Okay, but did Tinvec launch Tinvec, and we really can't take any credit for it?
No, we're totally taking credit. I don't care.
Okay, good.
No, I think Tin Vec did launch
Yeah.
Tin Vec. We just helped along the way.
I like how Tom briefly took credit for something. People, did you see that?
As a joke. Tom briefly stole credit that he doesn't deserve.
There you go. Getting better. All right, now where did the thing save to? Oh,
Well,
bugger.
when you export, you would have.
Oh, to the desktop? Really?
Yeah, you get to choose when you export where it goes. So if you didn't
I know,
choose, it
but
just goes wherever.
sometimes I don't pay attention to all that.
That's a people problem.
Don't you worry at all on vacation. Tom's gonna be kidding. Oh my god, what is happening? All right, now Levelator.
Okay, I think this. Glad we got Jury's email in.
Oh yeah, that was great.
We got so many good emails yesterday, and then Jeff and I had such a thick discussion.
Yeah.
I
Sorry I wasn't there for that discussion yesterday. Actually.
yeah, it would have been cool to have you along too. It was good.
I'm levelating. Oh my god, I'm finally doing the thing I hear about all the time.
Is it like everything you dreamed it would be?
And more. Oh man. This is just, you know what this whole like Jenny learning to really podcast thing is? It's like exposing all the weaknesses of someone who went straight to network television without doing anything else. It's just like all the basics of like where the things plug in and how the things work that you just like avoid when you stay on the editorial side.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, it's a different world, and it always
I will
was
say- Yeah,
for-
no,
for-
you're right.
for us. Yeah,
I would like 1 cent of credit for not being afraid to do this.
you deserve many
1
cents.
cent. 1 cent.
You deserve multiple cents. You deserve 5 cents a show, frankly.
All right. All right.
I mean, I think if I were a listener, I would pledge 5 cents a show in credit for that.
just because Jenny's learning to level 8. I didn't have the mental capacity to take on Alpha Geek Radio today, but I need to do that tomorrow.
Okay. Yep.
That's tomorrow's practice.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I really hadn't thought about it, but like at Tech TV, I was working in an understaffed website, so I had to do a lot of things. We had to know a lot of HTML ourselves. We had great devs at TechTV.com. I do not mean to disparage them, but there weren't that many, so we just had to pick up a lot of stuff from them. And then at CNET, it was the opposite. It was a great big website with lots of devs, but we had to do all of the audio and television production ourselves. And again, we had great cameramen, a few great editors, but we had to jump in and do stuff because we just didn't have enough people.
Right. And I worked at the most unionized,
You worked at the exact diametric opposite
just
of
the
that.
diametric opposite. Where like, if there was a task, there was a person for it. Like, and nobody shared tasks. Like, that's
Yeah.
not true. I'm
Right.
exaggerating, but it was so well staffed to the point where like I did my thing, and the other people did their thing, and never.
And it's not just it's not like you were like,
And
no,
I got
no,
fined
no.
$40 if I touched a button. so-
Right, exactly. It was like, no, you were actively discouraged from going
Yeah.
outside of your thing. Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, union people, I respect. And I only touched a couple buttons in emergencies, and we paid the $40. Let's see. All right, so I'm quitting Audacity. All right, so now I have a levelated product. I've done this correctly.
Yeah.
Then
And so then you pull
that's
that
the point
back
into
in.
Audacity.
Yep. You got it.
And I do all I do in that is get rid of the junk at the beginning, make
Yep.
sure the end is clean, and then export it again with the tags and the blah and the blah.
For me, the hardest part of the entire process is finding the beginning
Right.
because I never leave enough pause
Right.
to make it really obvious in the waveform. And because we always play a different opener thing every day, you can't recognize the waveform.
Right.
But yeah, it's not horrible. Today was hard for me to find for some reason. I think because Peter and I were
Let's see
just
if it's hard for me.
chatting.
Output wave, okay. This is giving me a thing that says when importing uncompressed, you can copy them or read them directly. What do you do? Copy?
Yeah, I don't know. I selected it and said, "Don't
I'm
ask me
just gonna do
again."
the
A
safer
long
thing.
time ago, and I don't remember.
All right.
Whatever it says is safer. Do that one.
Yeah. Here we go.
Actually, I think I
Let's see if
copy.
Let's see if Jenny can find the beginning of the show.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do, do, do,
Oh no, that's you on the show.
do, 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 do.
There are too many Toms. Opening. Oh, ooh.
Oh, ding, ding.
Oh, because there was whistling. That's why.
Oh, because of my whistling?
No, I think Peter was whistling during
Oh.
right before the. All right, ready? Zap.
Ooh, Big Jim has an idea. Put a big ding right before you do the intro bumper, or maybe a clap.
Yeah. We should tell everybody to clap right before their. No, that wouldn't work because then everybody.
Click their heels together
Yeah.
and believe. I'm excited because I'm getting my hair cut today.
Oh, cool. Oh, in anticipation of Dragon Con?
Yes.
Nice.
That's what I just did there is called positive positioning because I actually hate getting my hair cut.
Nice.
But I feel if I say that,
All
I'm
right, so
excited.
export.
I'll actually
Okay,
get excited.
So then, all right, so export. So, and I know how to do this part
Mhm.
because I'm just putting it into Dropbox, changing the name to R format, and then that part I know.
Doing
that
the
part.
ID3 tags. Putting Yep.
I did that. I learned something new today.
Did you put it in the actual Dropbox? Or did you put
no,
it in your
I didn't
own?
want to confuse things while you're doing it. I put
Okay.
it in my Dropbox. Just
All right. I was going to
but
look
I
at
will
it.
Theoretically remember. So if I clap really loud and believe, this podcast will actually start.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Now I
podcast
need you
fairy.
all to do something to help me start the podcast.
Yeah.
I'll turn into a kindergarten
Actually,
teacher.
Here's what I need, chat room, when Tom's away, is like at 1:30 or whatever the equivalent of Pacific, 1:30, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, 2:30 Mountain, 3:30 Central, like whatever that time is, at 29 of that bottom hour, I need every single person in the chat room to say, Jenny, are you hijacking the audio? I want
Are you recording?
17 different messages. Are you recording the show?
Yes.
Because I will have so many things to think about on that first day.
I mean, thankfully, we have YouTube as a backup,
I know.
but we need
I
the
wanted
backup to the backup to the backup.
to the backup,
So,
right?
Yep.
So that's my. Oh, I'm so excited. Now, what if they update Levelator while you're gone?
They won't update it. Just
I mean,
don't
what if they, like, there's no chance that it'll stop working while you're gone, right?
don't change your operating system while I'm gone, and it
Okay.
should be fine. Yeah. If in the case that it in the case someday that happens, there's a levelation feature in Audacity. It's just not very
I've
good.
seen that.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good as Levelator. It doesn't really bring the levels into the proximity that it needs to. I wish Conversations Network had put out an Audacity plugin, an Audacity extension. That'd been amazing.
All right. So, are you out of the post where I can?
I
put
am
my
out of the
picture?
post. Well, I'm actually not literally out of the post, but I'm done with it. There. Now I'm out of the post.
Okay, cloudy with a chance of ads.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Oh boy. Makes me
Meatballs.
want meatballs.
Hey, so it's getting time for us to have another chat with the audience about what they think about the show.
Agreed.
The problem is that I'm going to be
You're,
going off to
like,
Dragon
going
Con and then I'm going to be gone. So let's do it in September, audience.
Yeah,
Is that
let's never do
cool?
anything in August. As a general
Yeah.
principle.
No, exactly. Eternal Sword is using Levelator in Yosemite, he thinks. Good. That's good to know. So yeah, we'll have some kind of hangout chat, talk to the folks. So be thinking about things you'd like to hear more of, things you'd like to hear change, things that you think have been trending in the right direction, things that have been trending in the wrong direction. And we'll get together in September to do that. Also in September, I will be in New York for a week because Eileen is going to be working in New York for a month. So I'm going to go out there for a week just so I don't have to not see her for an entire month. And I'll probably want to do some kind of meetup or something when I'm there.
New
So
York meetup.
yeah, and you know what I was thinking, Jenny? I didn't even tell you this.
Mhm.
I thought about this the other day. We should try to have in-person guests
Yes.
for that for that week. So like people
Yeah.
in New York who could come to wherever I'm staying, and we could
Agreed.
just do the show. I mean, we'd still have you on the Hangout,
Yeah,
but
I
we
like
can just
that.
like sit next to each other in New York.
That's
Be
a good
great if Eileen picks a place that has like a cool backdrop out the window or something.
idea.
I don't know about that. I'm more
Um,
I'm more pressuring her, like make sure it has good internet. But
Right.
yeah,
That's a great idea. I love that. There are so many good guests in New York.
yeah, people like Dan Patterson. I'm thinking about. We could talk. We could see if he's
There
around.
is a gentleman named
Um,
Ayaz,
Andrew Zarian, Ayaz Akhtar.
who
Yeah,
actually lives in New York now.
no, it's yeah, that'd be good. All right.
All right. I'm out of the post.
All right. Well, thank you, chat room, for hanging around. We'll see you later.
Yo, bye.
Bye.